Good morning, folks. It's 8:31 a.m. and the 12th month, 17th day, 2024. And yeah, I don't like being as right as it's turning out that I am. It was, I tell you, sometimes Windy Mimic, they'll throw you a loop or they'll lie about a statistic or show you a bad stat. Like if I didn't do the homework I did on the beams, that I say induced the earthquake. It's 7.4 initially reporting, some are 7.3, but let's just say it's a very, very, very big quake and it's caused a lot of damage. And it doesn't look like it's HARP induced or anything. It looks like it was done with ships at sea. The localized next-red was steering some moisture around, but I did add their beams to some of my stuff, and so I'm going to go over the things I drew and put up on this post here. This is bad. These are the 2-day totals. You know, this is I can bring it exactly to 2 days, but the event is going to be over 2 days long. You guys have got a dump of water coming over a big period of time, where it's just not going to let it, and it's going to inundate this area in this corridor. It was really, really well defined by the EMF lines of flow that are created that I show you on those graphs, where the red is the line of the beam and the green I show the direction of the flow. And if I can see a source where all of them mix together, I try to show you guys that is a point where there is no land, so therefore the emitter has to be logically something else. So this is the fairly accurate. It's matching up with my maps. So I'm going to go over this. I know there's a lot of chem going over Sydney, and I'm not really going to cover that. You don't have no really huge totals that you can't manage over the next couple of days, but they do. And you got a lot of chem over Darwin. Well, I'll show you a bit of it, but I'm not really going to go over their event because I wouldn't consider that an event. This is a really big amount, and you see the funnel of moisture. A lot of it's been taken from an EMF move that's going on just off the coast here. They've made it look like the low is here, but it's actually turning about where my middle finger is because of lines of chem that keep being shot north, or a ship is moving in a track. We deserve an honest answer to my allegation, or my suspicion would be better. Yeah, not the conspiracy's a cover-up is when I say, oh my gosh, there's a beam, and then Mimic covers it up. So I'll go right to that now, to the Mimic of let's see if I can pull up a freshie so you can see we've had again the whiting out of the data from the area where the earthquake is. But I have already done the homework. I've already got it mapped out, and the time of interest is UTC 1 on today. Is this particular frame is the one they forgot. Is one I found that had a lot of lines intersecting, and we're going to be looking at a point about right here. As we got the Vanuatu Islands, and about the third island down, just off their coast, they really, really took a wallop. And so I'll go over the beams of this, but first I want to get the weather warnings out, because this is an imminent danger. There was an initial tsunami warning, and I am expecting, because the quake occurred here, near the Port Villa area, which has devastated the place. I'm telling you, it's been devastated. And there's no corridor. There's a corridor here where waves can continue along. So I am expecting some higher waves along this coastline, and it generated a tsunami waves from, depending upon which shake it was, between 0.3 meters and 1 meter. So you're looking at a maximum 3-foot wave on top of any other things that are going on, and it can propagate a bit when it goes in shallow. So it's nothing big, but that you could still have some surf along it. So maybe them long boards, you might want to have a short board. It was nice to see no super floods going on over here, but they tricked the rain away by putting EMF over here. But this corridor is no-go zone for visitations right now. Some of you people are going to want to make some decisions to move your stuff up. Like this area here, I'm going to move to a different day just so we can see the map, or something different. Just so we can see the map. Oh, this is just not nice to see. I'm trying to get away from this. Okay, so if I zoom in on a lot of these, I can catch the town. Let's go with the satellite. God, this is bad, man. These are cloud temperatures, by the way. Right? Minus 38. They blowed up a whole line of chem. So I'm going to go to a different stat, I guess. There's too much. Let me figure this out. I want to show this place. I absolutely intend to. There's one area I'm really concerned about, and I'm going to advise an evacuation from this area. Let me go to the 2-day totals again. Bring it back over. This is not accurate. There we go. All right, this area here, how good we zoom in, like Darragon, this transmitter station, whatever that is, I don't know if it's power transmission or what. Homework needs to be done. There's an airport there, an RAF base, which you would think would put out the EMF to protect itself, but it's to make it some kind of a flow that it goes around. You have a mountain here, right? So this water is going to run, and it's going to run down this creek, and it's going to run down this creek. So you got some neighborhoods around here where, well, you're going to want to, you live in a trailer or a temporary accommodation. You might be low to the ground. Oh, this is, I got to have some, what is going on here? I'm very curious about this. I have some homework to do. Anyways, I'm not going to do it right now. Mount St. John's, you might have some holy vestments. This might be lower ground, and you want to move them, to save those things that are precious to your oneness. There might be schools that got pet hamsters in them. Let's save the hamsters. We got time to react to this before this. You won't be able to get down here. I have a feeling the town of Berthoud is going to feel the wrath of the geoengineers in this area of the Black River and stuff. And we're looking at grand accumulations and of about 200 meters coming your way. This whole area's cubic amount of water is hitting this area here. It's going to run down this black rock here. It's going to run down that side, but most of it's coming up and around from this direction. So a lot of the condensates will hit this side and come down here. So I did a lot of calculating and thinking about this. A lot of this will run down here. And when it gets to these rivers here, I don't think this is going to handle it. I really don't. And it'll get channeled down here. Right? Look at this. Right across this railroad track. This bridge is going to be unpassable. So this is the Bruce, or it's going to be something that you're going to remember. You're going to look down and say, damn! I hope the bridge is high there. I really don't know what they're prepared for. This is where you use your local information and know what you need to do. So really, this is horrible amount of runoff's going to go out to the reef along this entire coastline, all the way from down here, Presper, Pine, and this. You're in the heavy total area. And then I'm going to show you why I say this. Because like I said, mimic is, they lie. They lie. They take away things from your data, so you can't do some determinants. But the EMF that caused the quake happens before the quake. It's not an instantaneous crack of the crust. You got to get the river. Well, they missed the beam here in the end. Look, they missed that one. Come on, we'll fix that. Go tell Big Brother, Big Smaller to get rid of the truth. You see, it's getting bigger. They'll tell you there was a solar mass ejection or something, lie to you. But they made a big quake right off here. And I can zoom in on it pretty well easier. If I come over here to, I marked it on the map. Okay, so we can go right into this. And the epicenter of the quake is like, this is a huge area. They're lucky this wasn't facing that. If it happened here, it sent that shockwave straight up here, that tsunami would have been quite different. But the deep waters here in reef at Blacks, it helped a lot with dispersing the wave. That would have been bigger, but it wasn't that big a shape. I don't know what this structure is under the water that's mighty geometric looking near the epicenter. It's happening. They're destroying the tunnels, or is this some kind of a underwater volcano we don't know about? Because it's a very blurry image, but that's a very 90-degree angle going on there, isn't it? 99 degree. So this is where it happened. Okay, that's the epicenter. I'm going to close that down because this uses a lot. I've got a lot of bandwidth going. And this site here is very, very handy. No tsunami warning. I just refreshed that before it came on. And so here's where you can find that information. Okay, are we going yet? And I'm really not going to look at comments today. All right, if you can hear me, great. If you can't, get some headphones. I'm not going to scream. I want to. I really do. This is my ease. Look at this over here. This is horrible. So let's roll through this for you. And this is pretty much what's going to happen. So I had a look first off at the mimic itself, and I looked at all the flows, right? So if I go bigger in this, I can go over this for you. I went on mimic and I tracked the beam lines, right, of how they're going to affect this coastline. And the beam path through here and here, it caused the type of the syringe. That pressure then applied on it pushes in this direction. They put a beam on down here from a localized next thread in a fan. And it came up and it caused a draft. Now you just can see it right through here. Something has fired in a pulse pattern. It's going right over the military base over there, somewhere outside Ogmar. And it has pulsed. It is actually pulsed right through here. I couldn't mark this thing all up to whatever's. You know, I'd be happy to somewhere along here is my antenna, my little carving thing, and I can pull up and show you this pulse. And this was a big determiner for why some of the totals got held off one area and got sent up through a path. So I'm going to do a quick markup. So there's a device that I don't know its location of. Only we together can find out the answer to the things we want to know, right? But right here, you'll see something here. Right here, there's a circle. I want to go white on this one. Right here. Let's see if I can draw this right. There's a circle here, and then you got these waves that we often see, like that next thread down south that fires. You see if I can do a better job with the arc. Right here. Just to the left of those, there are curves that show up in this image. Right? Curves. So I'll take that out and just do a wedge there for you. So I'm still learning to use it. I go between the pen. I'm still not happy with that. So you put a wedgie out like that. And so this caused a little height. It's got a wall that this is now turning around in a square. Right? Over here is about where the low is right now. It's wide. Very, very wide in the pit right here. And so they're going to do a dance, as I call it. This blocks this one. This is blocking this one. That means everything steers up and around. And where's all this common? Right fucking here. And it's absolutely determined by these two other flow lines that are drawn here on this side. And I've got the image of there's no need to save that. If you want something that bad, you can screenshot it, right? And so I marked these here, the radars where they're on, are done in blue, where I determined. So that radar's on. That's another radar that's on right here. Radar's on. Radar's on. Radar's on. Both of these radars are on. And there's two other ones that are on right here and right here, right? Yeah, radar on out here. So all the flow lines that they created then, pushing everything else towards this area, it hemmed it in here, just in this line where this is going. It hemmed it in down here. So this flow meets that flow. So you got a different temperatures and different dynamics than this western one, and all this comes in from this direction, where some of this is coming underneath here, and this is the textbook disaster that's brewing now for those poor folks in that area that have time to react, to save that which they think is important to their oneness, right? But when we get stuff like this going on to take our data away, it is freaking horrible. And so I can go to the Quake times, which was they take that off too. It's 1 o'clock. Right about here. This is when the quake hit, right? This is when the quake hit. This is your mimic image. Now I went over here to, again, to my Facebook, and then I'm going to have to go backwards a bit here. And this is just some of the other proofs of the radars that are on, to heat the atmosphere to make the flows, right? When I pointed at those things just a moment ago, that's from this graphic here, right? Here's the big map, where if I zoom in on it, on the world view, you actually pick that up of the signature of the radars themselves, influencing the clouds. And one of them's in a position that doesn't have a known radar that I know of, right here where I'm pointing. So if you zoom that image up, and I can do that as well right now. It's pretty easy for me to do. If I just zoom this up, and we zoom in here, you see the bzzzt, but that's not a known radar station, right? Not known at all. And right here, right in the center, that's a known radar station right here. And you see the bzzzt. You see the crosshairs going on like that, all pointing at that. See this right here? That's another one that's on, and I picked up your signature right here. I think that's Taru. Boom, boom, plumes over Taru. Boom, boom, plumes on Taru. Hip, hip, hooray. Our oppressors are going away. And this is all being held together right here and sustained with a chemtrail line that's being deployed off the coast right here. Right in this one spot. It's silent. It just stays. Look, the chem bomb cruiser is out. Cruising north against the flow. I'll just pin that in a spec. See? It ejaculated something. At the low is here. This is where it all met. This is where the turn is happening. But out here it ran into a wall of EMF while they're squeezing it in. It's quite a move they've done. Now look at these plumes here off of Harvey Bay. Right here, just over Bundaberg. Delicious, delicious Bundaberg. Tasty stuffs. Look at that plume right there. Boom. Hey, Bundaberg, I'm more than welcome for samples. I'm open to that. Your rum is very tasty. So everything's going here, but this plume just says, hi, I'm going to go the other way. Right, all the geoengineering. And then this year is like a grand finale. Fireworks, there's so much stuff going on. Really slow this down. Slow it down. The aroma of Roma. The plumes over Maryborough. I have to turn this off a minute. Look at that. Look at the gilt here. Look at the vast area they plume all at once. It's like watching a carpet bombing. You would believe it if it was done to a field. Well, you know, if I get to high ground, this is all a field. One device could deploy a whole bunch of stuff. They did a geostorm and they had some of the little missiles that came out of this satellite and everything went down. It was chem bombs. That the Hollywood movie showed us. Hollywood. Geostorms. Yeah, right. You tell people about geoengineers showing governance documents. They said about a tinfoil hat. They said it was tinfoil hat about many a topic that later on they go, why didn't you tell me? I go, just when you send me a picture of a tinfoil hat and I don't want to tell you anything anymore. Right? Look at the bombs here in this line. Hey, I like this hover bit I can do with this. That's interesting. There's a break line right here where the flow is going wrong. That should not occur in straight lines. That's a radar sweep. Where's it coming from? Over here. There's a sweep. That's a radar beam going on right there. You can hide it from the BOM, but you can't hide your wicked glitch when I see her ass flying in the sky. And that's the wicked glitch of the far fucking north. Look at this line of chem right over here. Sydney's down south here. Right? Here's Byron. Look at the straight line here. There's something beaming right here. Right there. Is there a radar where I just pointed? Let's see the name of the town. I imagine so. Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. The chem bomb cruisers are well busy over the northern rivers toxifying your garden, man, with fallout. With fallout. Look at this shitstorm over Sydney. Hi, have it. Want some of the fresh air? Oh, they're getting fried. This is over Wollongong and all that. Right over there. Doesn't that look like a penis? Right here. The dingus. It's right next to the entrance, too. It's Sydney. Look at this line of chem right through here. That's a line of EMF from a radar. And it keeps the chemical catalyst going into it. Chemical catalyst. So we'll start heading up toward Newcastle. It came the hell out of you. Really bad. That is nastitos. Nastitos. So, you ready to see the beams that did this? Okay, it's still running. Because they cut me off at any time. So I went over that flow, right? So I can backtrack a bit, go back to my wall. Did I show them all? Yes. And it shows the ducts that were created, as I call them. Where the flow corridors change, right? It's totally different. Come on, Nick. The flow corridor changes, right? You can see where the lines of EMF have pinned the clouds. And they pin the clouds in two spots. It really caused the flow boundary up through here in toward Bowen and Townsville, where all the heaviest totals are slated to go. So that's where it's coming up and around when they're forcing this move. And it went deep from all the way out west here and up. It hits EMF walls and changes the flow of this one and that one. If this one's stronger, this has to turn towards the direction, and it seems to be a homogeneous flow with still just a little bit of a gap between the western mix, and it's all mixing into this chem bomb that they deployed right here in the sky, and they haven't stopped. It's been going on. This is the geoengineering, and this evidence of an additional radar that we need to know what that is. I need to know what this is. So help me with that. You know, what is frying us from there? See the shape like a step sign? Almost. Face of Skeletor mask. It ain't Halloween. This stuff shouldn't be hexagonal and diagonal and all fucking funkin' wagnalls and all that shit going on out here. Funkin' with our wagnalls, man. Look at that Kimber mix out here off the coast. Right in the center, right here. Here's a dot with lines. Dot with lines. So if I blow up a firework and then something comes out from it, and then it blows up a little further down and away, and then it blows up some, and it blows up some, we are blowing up some really bad weather, man. Look at this out here. With Santa Luz's bow tie on the way by. Where's that the masked man of the shadow government making his mark? They want this coastline. They went to tourism, and they don't want you to make a profit off that family home that they sold you the dream to buy and get the mortgage of the you script, saved, worked, sweat for, dream to get and maintain. Big square form to all this out here. Okay, so these flow lines are all set up by these corridors which form a duct. DUCT will flow. So you can start to predict by the wedges that they form which direction things are going to go by using principles of canonicity and waveform isolation. How far apart is this between the tips can control how fast things move along and how far apart waves and pulses are. And right here, all this was done with chem, but the low is turning over here. See right here? This also helped farce it. There's a lot of chem in that. See all this here? It's chem. And these people are going to get flooded. And I gave you plenty of warning. And you gave me plenty of abuse. And I don't like being right. But geoengineering ain't right. And if we don't read these clouds every day, and we start recognizing the patterns of these curves of this low deck of microwave pulses centered right here. If you got a compass out and drew an arc, it wouldn't take you long to find the epicenter of the arc, right? You find out hypotenuses of triangles, you can find out centers of radiuses and all this kind of stuff. Euclids. Ooh, he went there, and that was just sustained itself. So I'm going to go to the forecast part of this, and I need a little bit more of the beam work. I've got to show you all this. There's a lot to work in on this. But I think the man-made earthquake is probably the most important. I've warned you that you're fucked. You are. I'm not going to go over a whole bunch of different places. I told you it's calming down here. I told you you see why you're getting rain near city. Could you have any more chem? Yeah, you could. But you'd be dropping dead breathing. And they don't. I think our oppressors want us sick. And because they make money off it. They have commodity-based vaccines that are publicly funded and shouldn't be for profit ever. And they don't sound safe to me. But if I say that opinion, they might ban me. So that's just my opinion. You go do what you want. If you want it, here it is. Come and get it. But you better hurry, 'cause the chem bombs blast. I tell the chemtrail people to kiss my ass. So those are done with balloons. That isn't a jet plane coming by and dumping that. Okay? You have some kind of ship or something at sea that was moving along. But you know, well, there's a lot of misconception, I think, about chemtrails, and that's probably one of them. Is every jet that goes by is spraying something. Now it's condensating what particles are there. Okay, let's keep things honest and all that. What a shame. So Townsville, this is how much this come up and around towards you. So it was a quick move, a really quick move as this moved around you guys. I couldn't believe how fast they flooded you. That much water is coming in 2 days. It is bad. So you see it, here it comes, and these tendrils just going to grow, and it's going to be relentless. Hovers right on that line of EMF off the coast, keeps condensating and dropping. And every hour that this is there, it's dropping about a centimeter and a half, centimeter and 3/4 an hour. You start hitting Tennant's Creek up here, this water starts running that way, Pentland and stuff. How long is that going to sit there, right? That's a lot every hour hitting you. That total there is a 3-hour total. That's fairly accurate. I think that's a little bit low because of the amount of water I see being wicked into the atmosphere out to sea. And all that stuff that shifted out there is coming your way, mixing with that desert flow, aimed by all those beams that swallow your streams and kill your dreams. We'll forewarn, save your dreams, man. You know what's important. Go get it. You have time. If you're in that corridor, you just dope the corridor afloat. So mimic-wise, I showed you. I showed you the EMF. I showed you the chem. I told you the totals. It will. God will separate the wheat from the chaff. He always does. She always does. Oneness will be oneness. So let me go to some of this data I have about a man-made earthquake that has occurred today, in my opinion, over in Vanuatu. And I put all this data down in a different post. Who's that guy with the shirt off? Right, we get here is this is number one. This will be a ship. I picked up his signature right out here off of the coast of New Caledonia. There was more than one, but my main concern was the spikes that were coming out here, and that's just off the epicenter. The epicenter would be about here, and there was a lot of beams that would attribute to this. That may still be on that image of that. I can't be certain. This is another marked image I have of long beams that happen far away, but their reverb of waveform will be echoing, and I have to add that to the factors. And the main intersection point of every main beam is the area where the quake hit, where the ship was, where the emitter was, right here, right in the center there. There's a beam here coming down. There's a beam here. This is a crowded picture, so I do have another image of it. And this shows where the quake happened. That's that green dot. The ships that have to be emitting, because there's no landmass there, that are emitting these beams, are here, here, and here. So you can still see just the remnants of this one here has come down. See that one pointing at that? See that one pointing at that? All these have added to the reverb, and it's shot down south as it's manipulating some moisture here in New Zealand, right? So it's influenced. All these little geoengineering tweaks and moves are adding chaos to the mantle, and it's echoing in its reverb. So both basic bouncing of sound waves, infrasound and S waves and P waves through the planet can propagate as well, along with the atmosphere moving and waves at sea. You might get rogue waves in some areas. Why is the surf so high? Blame an earthquake, but why was the surf there ahead of time? Well, it could be caused by all the waveforms actually moving the molecules of water. This one did a good wedge. This one did this, it did this, and it helped do the move of pushing this moisture towards that area that was flooding. And it hits these lines and reacts. There's that pulse off Yapun again. And that showed up on that other image. All this propagated right here. and I go over to a NASA worldview. It's very conveniently that area of the world is not as visible as it should be. You know, this is where the earthquake happened. But what they failed to do is count on me being able to read things from a distance. And so I took the liberty of making another map to show you guys why I say this is an EMF induced quake. That's the location I showed you already. That's that image of the map. And this is the mark, right, of where I marked it up. And through this line in here, right in here, you see what I call the eyebrow beam. These are very wide, it's very low frequency, and it's one wave right there. And it bumps that wave. So the mantle had really low humming frequency. Wow, a super low bass. You could shatter bodies with low bass. Anybody stand in front of speaker systems, some of these new ones? Look at the square right here, where all these waveform lines have been intersected. And all this is based on looking at images of how the lines in the clouds are influenced by the beams I already saw. I go, what's it? Let me get a second source. So go look at this. And where's another eyebrow beam here? Right? It causes echoes back and forth. Echoes back and forth. And the waveforms propagate. And they's propagating and propagating and propagating until they've propagated right there and triggered a quake. Is what I see. It's local neck shred that they're coming from out of that area, or a radar of some kind. There's another edge of a beam there. And I could go on and on about how many ways can you say that I think I'm being lied to, and then show the lie, show the chocolate face on the kid that says he didn't eat the cake, so to speak. Go and look on the maps. Go and look for yourself. This was a very devastating quake, and it's going to force some kind of an IMF loan so they could rebuild their country that was destroyed by the people that make the IMF loans. And it just disgusts me watching swell the streams, kill all our dreams of everything out there. Who knows what the dream is of the whale? We don't ask it. We didn't learn to listen. What is the dream of the planet itself? I don't think it is to destroy life. I think it is to nurture it. I don't think it is to have the trees not regulate the water cycle, or to have us block the sun from creatures that the big one is designed that needed, like trees and phytoplankton and things like this. And we need sunlight, and they're blocking it here. They're destroying my land. They're slapping my mother in the face, and they're blaming me for it. And I've had enough. Have a good day. Big love. Yeah, stay safe. Be you. Be free. Be oneness.